Alrighty, this is the first bed. Now, this is my second shot at a raised bed garden. When we first bought this property about 3 years ago, I put in a raised bed garden and used the materials from these first 3 beds. They were in a different area, and I reused some of the dirt from there, of course. And that's a subject for another video. But this is like I said, my second one. The first one was 2019. And this is, of course, April 2021. So this first row here, we've got some, first row garlic there is some soft neck garlic. And then I've got some hard neck. I planted those last fall. Looking forward to pulling them out this summer and seeing what I have. And then this next little row, there's a kind of, I guess, brown looking lettuce. I'm not sure of the name of that. I'll put it in the comments. I mean, not the comments, the description of what kind of lettuce that is. Then we've got some outrageous lettuce, which is pretty good. I've had all of this in a salad so far. Then we have some broccoli. Not broccoli, boy. We've got some butter crunch. And like I said, all the lettuce there, that was all started in soil blocks inside. I started it maybe mid-February, and I planted it out here. And then on our next row here, we've got some more of the to be determined lettuce, and then I've got some romaine, and then I've got some bok choy or pak choy. It goes by a number of different names, and we've got all those set up here. And next off, we've got some kale. We've got some walking stick kale. They can grow up to 12 feet tall depending on the climate. I'm not sure what they'll do here. And if I'm not mistaken, they're called walking stick because the main stem gets so strong, you can actually, cut it out like a stick, kind of like bamboo. And then behind there's something, I call them elephant ear kale. They get really, really huge leaves. Once again, this is kind of a hot climate, southeast coast of South Carolina. So I'm not sure if it'll be cool enough here for actually that to develop fully. But I'm going to try it again in the fall and see what happens. Next off, we've got some ground cherries, and those are kind of, I'm going to slaughter it, but tomato, distant cousin. The reason they're called ground cherries is when they're fully ripe, they drop to the ground, and they're in kind of a papery husk that you pull off. And they're very, very sweet from what I understand. I'm hoping these will continue to develop, and we'll see what happens with those. I've never had them before, but I'm kind of excited. Haven't planted anything else in this bed yet. I need to kind of get something in there. Next off, we have my broccoli. Now, it hasn't budded yet, and I'm worried that they may be too close together. My first stab at broccoli 3 years ago, or 2 years ago now, didn't do too well. These are really growing up well, but like I said, I haven't got any buds yet, so I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll have to wait and see. Then I've got some carrots. And I planted these fairly uniformly, and I'm not sure what happened. Don't know if birds got the seeds or they just didn't germinate. We've got some carrots there. Then we got my sole 2 radishes there on the end. Every day I come out and check the garden, I kind of take me a radish as a treat, so I've gone through all my radishes, and I'll be planting some more of those next. Then we have some more butter crunch lettuce. And these were planted from seed. Everything in this bed, except for the broccoli, was planted from seed out here. Then we've got over here to my peppers. And when I planted these, didn't do a really good job of labeling. So I know I've got some bell peppers, some jalapenos, and a Chinese variety. It's multicolored. So I'll have to wait and see what happens when they fruit and see what happens. And then over here, across the back row is my cucumbers. And I planted 4 in there from seed. And I've got one coming up there, or one section, and then I've got one coming up over there in the corner. I'm not sure what happened to the other 2. I'm going to have to plant some more. And then we've got a row of bush beans coming across the middle there. And these went in the ground, I don't know, maybe about a month ago now. Let's see. No, maybe a couple of weeks ago now. And then across the front, we have some marigolds. I don't know if you can see them. Got a row of marigolds. Okay. And next we got another row of bush beans. I had a row behind them, but there were old seeds, and I guess they just kind of decided not to germinate up for me. I need to get 2 more rows in this one as well. And then next, we have horseradish. Now you'll notice this horseradish bed is a double bed compared to the others, and that's because horseradish needs a good bit of space for their roots. 24 inches is kind of the magic number to my understanding. I've got maybe 20 inches or so of good soil in there. I'm on very hard clay, so I want to give my plants the best chance they can to survive. The horseradish is also off by itself because it's a perennial, and it also can be considered invasive. So if you grow it, you're going to want to grow it by itself. Maybe in a pot or in a container, something you can kind of control. You can put it in the ground, just be careful because you pull it up, it'll leave its roots. Now, this is my first year doing horseradish, so I'm hoping it's going to come out nice. They're coming up really nicely so far, so I'm pretty happy with that. Then over here, we have our tomatoes. And this is actually my second group of tomatoes. These tomatoes were all done, and the pak choy in between the tomatoes were done soil blocks. And I did a few too many because I thought I grew some for insurance, so I kind of staggered them a couple of weeks apart. Turned out I didn't need to, and you'll see the why in a minute. Got some basil right there, and I also have a marigold to kind of help stave off any bugs and whatnot. And then there's some more tomatoes. Once again, I was pretty bad about the tomatoes, didn't label them, so I'm gonna have to wait and see what comes up. I know I've got a couple of aromas, and the rest are intermediates, so we'll have to wait and see. And I've got some more tomatoes here in some pots. Didn't want to let any go to waste. And now this is the first round of tomatoes. These were all from soil blocks. And we actually have some tomatoes in here starting to show up. So I'm hoping those turn out nice. Now, one thing I've learned about tomatoes, if you don't want them to crack, keep them watered. Don't overwater, but keep them watered. And that's why I've got the drip irrigation in throughout their entire garden, so everything can be kind of watered uniformly on a regular basis, so I don't run into any issues with cracked fruit, cracked tomatoes, all that other fun stuff. Then we've got another tomato there on the end. We've got another little basil plant and some marigolds. Now the marigolds were planted from seed, and the horseradish was planted from basically roots. Now here I've got some apple gourd and a loofah gourd. Just didn't have a place to put it, so it went into a grow bag. I need to get a drip emitter on it. Then over here, we have a pumpkin plant in a grow bag. Once again, I'm on clay, so I didn't want to put it in the ground, and I wasn't in a position to put any more raised beds in this year. But maybe next year I might put a raised bed in, or I might just leave it in a grow bag. We'll see how it grows. The next, I've got a watermelon, but it hasn't germinated yet, so we got our fingers crossed there. I'm worried I might have to replant it. And then next, we got a little honeydew poking up. Let's see if I can get my shadow out of here. We got a little honeydew poking up, so we'll see how that goes. And then we have some zucchini and some squash. And next I'm going to show you some more loofah and apple gourds. Alrighty, so these are our loofah and apple gourds. The first one's a loofah, I believe, and then we've got a couple of apple gourds, and we've got another loofah, and then I got some sunflowers there. Put them over here to help give the chickens some shade. So we're going to let them grow over the chicken coop, because a loofah will grow about 30 feet or more, depending on the environment, the water, and everything else. So we'll take them, hopefully they'll go over the top and they'll give them some more shade. Anyone who's watched the other video will notice we lengthened the tarp a little bit. We put a larger tarp on there to kind of give them more shade there as well. Now, I've got this chicken wire enclosure around the the loofahs and the apple gourds to help protect them from when my daughter lets the chickens out so they won't get into there. And originally I had them laying on the chicken coop, but I didn't take into effect they might pull them through the wires, which they did, and they kind of tore up a few of the gourds. So I kind of stood them off a little bit till they get tall enough, and then we'll drape them over the top and it won't be such a big deal. And over here we have the rest of our gourds. More loofahs, more apple gourds, and the same kind of enclosure. So we have a loofah, another loofah, apple gourd, and another loofah. And then we have a couple more sunflowers. And of course the chickens say hi. Well, that's about it. Thank you for coming back. If you liked it, please like the video.